I'm Dr. Tiffany Crutcher, and today is definitely a bittersweet day. We've had a rough, I would say, few weeks as we go out, the people who I'm standing with, and fight for the least of these and fight for all Tulsans to ensure that they live in a city that works for them, that's safe for them, that's equitable for them. And so I stand here today happy and excited and emotional, announcing that I'm honored and I'm privileged to serve as the senior campaign advisor for Mr. Gregory Robinson as he files to run for the mayor of the city of Tulsa. Now is the time for us to stand strong for our babies, those babies who we saw on TV fighting and screaming for their rights, for their life. Now it's time for us to stand strong for the citizens of North Tulsa who live in a food desert. Now it's time for us to stand strong and fight for the black contractors who deserve just fairness, a shot at generational wealth. It's time for us to get to a place of racial healing in this city. This moment is historical as we encroach upon the anniversary of the 1921 race massacre. I will fight really hard to make sure we elect our first African American mayor. And I'm reminded of a story, the story of David and Goliath. David had a lot of naysayers. David had a lot of doubters. David had a lot of haters. And they said, David, you're too small. You're so short. You will never be able to knock down this giant Goliath. But let me tell you something about little bitty short David. David squared up. He looked his doubters and his naysayers in the face. And he said, this giant is so big. This giant of racism is so big. This giant of bigotry is so big. I can't miss. And so I'm standing here today to let you all know we have a huge opportunity in Tulsa, Oklahoma to get to that place where that railroad track at Greenwood and Archer no longer symbolizes racial division. We will, this team, all of us, make sure that those tracks, those lines of racial divide are erased. And so I would like to introduce to you our David, the candidate for the mayor of the city of Tulsa, the birthplace of the 1921 race massacre, the birthplace of Black Wall Street, none other than Gregory Robinson II, candidate for mayor of the city of Tulsa.
Yes, yes.
We come to this decision today, and I come to this decision today, honestly, out of a lot of prayers. I have to tell you that I'm scared. I'm scared to be in this position. I'm scared to stand up and say that this is what the time has called for and that I'm the person that's called for it. But what I'm more scared of is continuing to live in a city where we're not doing right by all of the citizens of Tulsa. What I'm more scared of is allowing for the spirit of white supremacy that threatened to rip and destroy our city apart 100 years ago can continue to keep us from the healing and the moving forward that we're on the cusp of 100 years later. And so it is with that spirit, with the spirit of my ancestors, with the spirit of great love for this city that I stand before you and say that I'm not perfect. Uh, I don't have it all figured out. I probably am too young. I probably am a little naive. I probably am a little too vivacious, a little too ferocious. But what I also am is passionate. What I also am is thoughtful. What I also am committed to and have always been committed to is listening. What I also am is selfless. What I also am is deeply committed to making this city a city that I can be proud of, that my family can be proud of, that our little brothers and sisters of all races and ages and backgrounds can be proud of, that our ancestors can be proud of, and that those who come after us can be proud of. And so this will be a campaign of we. This will not be a campaign of me, because we are not in this position because of me. I am simply the one standing before and saying that no longer will we accept getting halfway there. No longer will we accept words and not action. So we are taking bold action. And I'm calling on all of you in Tulsa who have thought for the longest that your voices didn't matter, that nothing was ever going to change, that you weren't good enough, that no one cared about you, that you couldn't make something of yourself. I'm calling on all of you to stand with me. I'm calling on all of you to stand with us. I'm calling on all of you that have had an inkling in your stomach to say, man, I really think something could be different if somebody just had the courage to lead us in a different way. I'm calling on you today and saying that I have the courage. I have the courage. And if we are willing to stand together, then I'm willing to stand in the front and lead us in a new direction. And so it is in that spirit that I am proud to stand here with Dr. Tiffany Crutcher, a great mentor. I'm glad to stand here with Councilwoman Vanessa Hall Harper, a great mentor. I'm proud to stand here with Miss Christy Williams, a great mentor, and announce my candidacy for the mayor of the city of Tulsa. Thank you.
So much. And so we'll take any questions, and I am elated to say that my family, we're excited to pay for Mr. Robinson's filing fees. This is the best $50 that we'll ever spend as citizens of Tulsa. We'll open it up for questions.
Greg, I'll ask you first. What was the moment you knew that you needed to run for the mayor of Tulsa? Was it the mayor's comments that sparked it, the last 2 weeks that sparked it? What was that moment where you knew you had to take this stand?
I will tell you the truth that I've been up all night the past couple of nights, praying, consulting, asking many to step up and take lead here. I see myself as a soldier in this battle. I don't see myself as someone who has to have the glory. I see myself as someone just participating to move our city forward. But there came a time when there was no one that was willing, that I had to look inside of myself and say, what are you here to do? Are you here to just talk? Are you here to just sound good? Or are you here to put actions to your words? And so I had to look inside of myself and ask myself, am I courageous enough to step out there in the way that I've been asking others to? And the answer is yes, I am. And so once I had that conversation, once we decided that collectively this is what needed to happen to move our city forward, then I was proud to shoulder that burden, because I know I'm not shouldering it by myself. I know I'm shouldering it with a team of incredibly passionate, diverse Tulsans who just want better for our city. Tulsa is and can be the best city in the country. We have the pedigree, but being the best requires a deeper commitment. It requires a deeper courage. It requires going where others have not gone. And so far, our leadership has not been able to take us there. But I think we have that potential, and I'm willing to take those steps.
And with us coming up to the centennial of the race massacre, how symbolic do you think it is that you are putting your hat in the race for this?
It's not lost on me that this is the 100-year anniversary is now. It's not lost on me because, honestly, the spirits of the ancestors have been inside of me. As a young man who grew up in North Tulsa, walk these streets, I will tell you that I went to the finest of schools. I went to Eisenhower Elementary. I went to Monte Cassino Middle School. I graduated from Booker T. Washington High School. But the fact of the matter is that my neighbors, they didn't get that same opportunity. And to me, it's not right that if you don't get the opportunities that I had growing up, that you may not be able to fulfill your potential. That's not right. There are too many people in this city that don't have access to the proper education, that don't have access to the proper housing, that don't have access to the proper economic opportunities. And so when we think about the 100-year anniversary of the race massacre, it's never been about commemorating 100 years. It's been about realizing that for the last 100 years, black people in the city of Tulsa, people of color in the city of Tulsa, have lived oppressed, have had things taken from them, have not had the opportunities of everybody else. And it's upon us to say, for the next 100 years, it will be different. And so what I'm saying is, that means that we have every right to stand up and say, if we're not getting what we want from our public officials, if we're getting dishonest, if we're coming to the table and we're not seeing our demands being met in a genuine way, if we feel like we're being lied to, if we feel like we're being dehumanized, then we're not going to stand for it anymore. And so the next 100 years will be different.
Yes.
That's the significance of this moment. It's not about me. I hope that what this candidacy does and the way that we run this campaign says that if you are out there and you feel like your voice is not being heard, that you consider running for mayor next, that you consider running for city council next, that you consider running for legislative office next. The time is past. The time is past to be of the opinion that government cannot function for us. We are citizens too. All of us are citizens of Tulsa, and all of us have the right to participate, and that's why I'm running.
You guys are here at the election board. Are you guys here to officially file, or have you already filed the paperwork too?
Absolutely. I'm going to go get my paperwork notarized so that everything is in decency and in order, and we will come back and officially file.
Okay, so, primary is, will you be on the primary at the end of the month, or is that a different mayoral primary? Just for people like voters, they know when can they see your name pop up?
Absolutely. The mayoral race is in August. There is an election June 30th, but that is not a mayoral election. I encourage people to go out and vote June 30th. There's a lot of important issues on the ticket. One of them is Medicaid expansion, State Question 802. I encourage people to go out and vote for that. I encourage people to get out and make their voices heard. We will be pursuing a voter registration drive because voter registration for the August elections is still continuing. And so we will be out there knocking on doors. We will be out there online asking people to make sure that they're registering to vote. The excitement that we have about this campaign is that we want to bring more people's voices into this. We want people to be able to realize that, hey, there's someone who's out there running for your concerns. So we're excited to get out there and listen to people. We're excited to give people a reason to vote, and that starts with registering. So if you're there listening and you're excited about the potential of this campaign and this candidacy, the first responsibility you have is to register and vote.